Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're heading back to the book of Genesis.
It's a real page turner.
It really is, and we're focusing on chapter 31 today, specifically the story of Yaakov. You might know him better as Jacob.
Right, Jacob and his interesting family dynamics.
To say the least, we're talking family drama, big time. We're talking about how people back then saw wealth and spirituality.
And how those two were totally connected for them. It's like you can't separate them.
Okay, so set the scene for us. Who's Yaakov? Where's he at in this story? And what's going wrong?
Okay, so picture this. Yaakov is living with his father-in-law, Lavan. Now, Yaakov, he's been doing pretty well for himself. Prospering, you could say. But here's the thing.
And I'm sensing a but coming.
But Lavan and his sons, they don't exactly see it as a good thing.
Even though, and this is key, Yaakov's success, it's kind of presented as a gift from God, right?
Totally, like divine intervention, stuff that's just, out of human hands.
Exactly. But Lavan and his sons, they aren't seeing it that way. So what's their problem?
They see it as a loss, a direct hit to their honor.
Honor. So it's not just about the actual wealth.
Not even close.
Yeah.
You see, there's this Hebrew word kavod. It's often translated as riches, but that doesn't really capture it.
Okay, so break it down for us. What does kavod really mean?
It's deeper. Kavod is about honor, respect. You're standing in the community. It's like your worth as a person,
Wow. So in their minds, Yaakov gaining wealth meant they were somehow losing theirs.
Exactly. It's this fundamental difference in how they see the world. Yaakov, he's following his faith, his purpose, but Lavan and his sons, they're all about what they can see, what they can hold on to.
Their possessions, their earthly status.
Spot on. And that, my friend, is where the real trouble starts brewing.
Like their whole world is rocked, right? Because Yaakov's success challenges their very understanding of how things work.
Totally. And, it makes you think, what are we clinging to that might be holding us back? Are there beliefs we have that maybe we need to re-examine? Tough questions.
Really tough. But speaking of clinging to things, let's not forget about Lavan. He is not happy about his daughters and grandkids, not to mention these idols just taking off.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
This guy, he is on a mission. Remember how we talked about the 7 days of creation?
Yeah, it's one of those core stories.
Well, guess how long it takes Lavan to catch up with Yaakov? 7 days.
No way. That's some serious determination.
Right. And he is ready to let Yaakov have it. But then things get interesting.
Oh, I bet. Knowing Lavan, I'm imagining a full-blown showdown.
You got it. But right before it goes down, Lavan has a dream. And guess who shows up?
Okay, let me guess. God.
Bingo. Divine intervention, just like that.
Wow. So what does God say? Does he take sides?
It's more like a cosmic timeout. God tells Lavan straight up, don't even think about hurting Yaakov.
Talk about a mood killer. So what happens when they finally meet face to face?
Pure tension.
Yeah.
Like you could cut it with a knife.
I bet.
Lavan lets loose. He's accusing Yaakov of stealing, of kidnapping his daughters, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so what does Yaakov do? Does he just stand there and take it?
No way. He stands his ground. He reminds Lavan of all the years he worked for him, how loyal he was.
He's defending his integrity, basically.
Exactly. It's this clash of wills, two powerful personalities going head to head. But then, and this is where it gets really interesting, Lavan agrees to make a covenant with Yaakov.
Hold on, back up. A covenant. This is the same guy who was ready to throw down, right? What changed?
It's a great question. Maybe God's message really sunk in. Or maybe seeing Yaakov's faith, his willingness to stand up for himself, made Lavan reconsider things.
Maybe a bit of both. So they make this covenant, this agreement, and they build a monument, right?
Yeah, like a pile of rocks. It sounds kind of basic to us, but back then, huge deal.
So it wasn't just about building something, it was about what it meant.
Totally. It was a pile of witness, marking a boundary, a promise made right there in front of God. And the meal they share after. More than just a meal. It was about coming together, recognizing that even with all the drama, they were still family.
Like that act of sharing a meal, it kind of reset things, didn't it?
Exactly. And it wasn't just the meal. There's this other fascinating detail. Remember we were talking about kavod, honor, respect, all that.
Yeah, it's like their whole world revolved around that.
Right. So, get this. Both Lavan and Yaakov, they each give a name to that spot where they made the covenant.
The pile of rocks.
The very same. Lavan calls it Yegar Sahaduta, and Yaakov, he calls it Gilead.
So even with all that had gone down between them, that place meant something to both of them.
Absolutely. It's like they both knew Things would never be the same. It was a turning point.
And then what happens? Does Lavan just pick up his idols and head back home?
Well, he does head back, but not before something pretty amazing happens. Vaughn, he actually blesses Yakov and his family.
Wow, really? After all that tension, he offers a blessing.
He does. Maybe a little surprising, but it's a powerful moment. It's like this glimmer of hope, this tiny seed of peace planted in the middle of all that family drama.
It makes you wonder, what would happen if we tried that in our own lives? Like offering a blessing to someone we've been at odds with.
It's a powerful thought, right? And, it kind of gets to the heart of what this story is all about.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Yakov and his complicated family, what's the big takeaway? What can we learn from all this ancient drama?
I think it reminds us that even when things get messy, even when relationships feel impossible, there's always a chance for forgiveness, for starting over. It might not be easy, but it's possible.
And sometimes all it takes is a conversation, a boundary set, maybe even a symbolic pile of rocks to start that process.
Exactly. And let's not forget about kavod, right?
Sure.
True honor is not about what you own or who has the upper hand. It's about staying true to yourself, even when it's tough.
And being open to those unexpected moments of grace, because you never know when a little bit of hope might take root and grow. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.